One day, Rainbow was sitting out by a small lake when she suddenly heard a voice. Is that you, Rainbow Dash? She quickly looked around and looked up and saw a male Pegasus coming down towards her. Yes? Do I know you? As the young male Pegasus landed on the ground. Don't tell me you forgot your old friend, he said with a bit smirk. She looked closer, and somehow they clicked. Wait, Blazing Waters? Is that you? Yep, it's me. I haven't seen you in years. How have you been? And why are you even here? Well, I was just out flying myself, and I just noticed you on the ground, and I first thought maybe it was you or not, so I just took a closer look, and it sure was you. And well, I mean, we hadn't been seeing each other like what, 10 years? Yeah, sounds about right. Blazing Waters and Rainbow Dash literally grew up next door in Cloudsdale when they were young. But about 10 years earlier, Blazing Waters' family moved away to Philadelphia due to his dad getting a new offer of work. Even though Blazing Waters didn't want to leave, but unfortunately he had to. But they did keep in touch by letters for about a year until they suddenly stopped doing it. So, how you been? Oh, you're doing good. I'm not living in Cloudsdale anymore, as you may find out. Yeah, I heard you live in Ponyville of all places, and now even a Wonderbolt. Yeah, even back then, I always wanted to be a Wonderbolt. Yeah, I knew how much you practice different moves, looping, and all that, all kinds of things. Yeah, but not matter about me, but what about you? Since you moved in with your family to Philadelphia, and after even a year, we just drifted away. What happened to you? Oh, I have been busy a lot actually since my dad was busy with his work, so I had to be helping around at home, do some chores, to even work part time, and of course I even joined some clubs in a school and things happened. Yeah, I don't understand that. So what brings you here? Oh, um, I was just out flying, just enjoying the day. So I just wanted to fly around and just be calm, relaxing. Yep, it's pretty much. But when I noticed some pony under this tree, this lake, when I noticed the rainbow colored mane, I was like, no way. There's no way that can actually be her. So you thought that was me, do you? She looked up with a smile. Um, I mean, how many mares do I know with rainbow mane? Well, from Cloudsdale, just me, but Philadelphia? I wouldn't even know. Touche. But yeah, I wasn't sure if it was you, so I just took the chance to see if it was you, and I'm glad I did. I mean, we hadn't even seen each other in like in 10 years. I just wanted to, catch up for what we've been up to lately. Yeah. Um, is it possible that we could perhaps hang out in Polville? Yeah. How about we fly back there if you can even keep up with me? Oh, you are on. They usually often did this on racing when they were young. Though this time he was making sure he did win. How about this? How about we make a bet? Oh, now this might sound interesting. What had you in mind? Well, how about this? If I win, you and I go on a date. A date? Well, that was unusual for even you to say, but well, agreed. But if I win, yeah, you had to be my servant for a whole day. Deal? Deal. And they took off. But, well, at least Rainbow did it first because he let her. And after after just only about a minute afterwards she left, he took off right after her. She tried to make flying some in different directions under the trees or even above trees to make sure that he would even get in catch up to her. But after almost halfway through, she was like, yeah, he is not keep up with me. But then she suddenly heard a voice. Hey, are you even getting slower or what? Then he just took off passing her, and she looked at him with big eyes, like, what the? And then, oh yeah, he's not gonna beat me. And as they were arriving at Ponyville, and unfortunately, Blazing Waters did beat her, and they landed in front of Sugarcube Corners, and some of her friends was even there. Yep, I beat you. I'm faster than you, Rainbow. There's no way in the quest that you can do that. Well, do you call me cheating by any chance? No, it's just... Wait, Rainbow, did you lose in a race against him? Said Skululu. I thought you were the fastest flying in Equestria. Well, she is one of the fastest. That's, is guaranteed on that. And, well, this time, I just had lucky. But who are you? Oh, my name is Blazing Waters. I'm an old friend of Rainbow from Cloudsdale. We just, reconnected today, actually. And I beat you in a race, so, how about that date on Friday? Date? Every of her friends looked at each other and looked at Rainbow, who was now blushing. Hey, you don't have to say that. You don't have to say that like out loud. What? That was a part of the deal, wasn't it? I mean, if I did lose, I would have been your servant for a whole day. Her servant? That's, I would have accepted that, even though she may try to step under the deal, but, how she can be like. Anyways, I'm actually staying at this hotel in town, so, wait, you knew that I live here? And you were expecting, or at least hoping to try and meet me? Yeah, pretty much. You are someone like that. Well, see you later. And then on Friday, they actually went on their date. Even though Rainbow was actually somehow looking forward to this. For many reasons. Because one, she had even seen Blazing Waters in a decade, and two, she was secretly in love with him. She were in fact even in love with Blazing Waters on the day when he moved. She was planning to telling him, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. After when he had informed her that he was moving away, yeah, that didn't happen. But now she was hoping to be able to get the chance. During the dinner, so, how do you think about Ponyville so far? I mean, even you only stay here for about a week. It's pretty nice. I mean, compared to Cloudsdale, even Philadelphia, those places were all buzzing, all sounds, but here, it's not as much. I actually kind of like it here. Oh, so why don't you just move here then? Well, to be honest, I was looking into moving here. Wait, really? Yeah, but I didn't find many much places that was available at the moment. Except for this small cottage that was just a bit outside town. And I was considered, and I did put an interest on it, but I wasn't sure if I would be approved. Oh, I'm sure you will be approved. Don't worry about it. Don't you try to do anything to make it approved, Rainbow. I don't want to have to be in any given special treatment because I'm your old friend now. But I had to be honest about you something. Oh? Well, the fact is, you don't remember that day when you were moving from Cloudsdale 10 years ago? Oh, yeah. That was a tough times. Well, the fact is, I wanted to tell you something that day. Oh? Well, but I never did since when I learned how you're moving, and it kind of made it a bit harder to break the news like that. Well, tell me. I was in love with you even back then, and still are. I have often wondered how things would have been for us if you never did move, or if we were in a long distance relationship even then. Really? Yeah, but I'm sure you'll probably find some pony back in Philadelphia after you move. I actually did date a few mayors while I was growing up in Philadelphia, yeah, but they were mostly from like school, but they don't even usually last long. Really? How long did they usually last? Uh, a few months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, about that. But I haven't dated anyone and any pony right now for the past 2 years or so. And after being reconnected with you, I realized you weren't the pony that I wanted to be with. Really? Yeah. I know that might be sound jealously or a little bit arrogant, but I never got off you in my mind ever since that day when I moved. It felt it's like losing a part of you. Yeah, I do still have the old photo of us when we were young after our race when my mom took a photo of us. Oh, that day. Wait, you still have it? Yeah, it's one of my most precious items that I have since from my childhood. I don't think of anything else, and every time when I'm looking at it, it reminds me of my old days when we were young, those fun times. But now these days, they reminds me of your beauty. Like I often wondered how she's been like, what she been up to. How does she even look like? Does she even remember me after those 10 years? Will I ever meet her again? Or even should I even reach out to her? She's probably married by now. She has even probably a family of her own. She's probably too busy with the piano Wonderbolt. I did keep an eye on you in the newspapers, but I did even go to see a few of your performance when you were in Manhattan and even in Vancouver last month. Wait, you were there? But you never even tried to reach out to me? I wanted, but it felt almost like I was being forced to myself. And I wasn't sure if you'd even remember me. How would I not even remember one of my oldest friends? Well, it is as it is. And after that their dinner, just before they went separate ways, I had to ask you something, yeah? Even though this date was a part of a deal that if you win against me or not, but do you think this could have been like our first official date as a couple? Well, if we were, if we both wanted it, then yes. But this is our probably like only last time we see each other. What do you mean? Well, I think, I assume that you wouldn't even have the same feelings anymore. Didn't I tell you earlier that I still love you? Yeah, you did, but I didn't accept that you thought that you actually meant it. Well, I do. I really do love you, and I really want to be with you forever. So happy it. You want to be my boyfriend? And Blazing Waters just stood there, baffled, dumbfounded, clueless, not even to give an answer. He probably like, There's only like two scenarios: give her the right answers right away, or tell her that he needs some time to think. But he realized, do even I need time to think about this? He thought to himself. He actually said yes right away, and even the next day, when Rainbow met up some of her friends, they even asked him how this date went when they were having tea together at the castle. So, how did that date went between you and your friend Blazing Waters go? Asked Rarity. Oh, it went well. We are now actually dating. The other's like, what? You actually dating right now? Yeah. So what? I thought you didn't even thought that I would find a boyfriend. Well, it's not like that, Sugar Cube. It's just that was really unlike you. I mean, I love him for the past 10 years, and now when he's finally back in my life, I'm not letting him go that easily. That makes sense, said Twilight. Darling, even if that may be a little bit too soon, but are you sure about this? Rarity, I think she really is honest about herself, said Fluttershy with a smile. I have known Rainbow for a long time, and even though I don't know Blazing Word directly, but after knowing Rainbow for so long, I know that she may can do drastic choices, even be a little bit arrogant sometimes. Hey, but she has a good heart. And if she really aren't true for her feelings, then I think we be sure to just accept it. Well, Fluttershy, it's not like we don't approve it. It just, a bit of a surprise that she even went there so far. It may be, said Fluttershy, but considering how much she loves him, and just based on how she acts like when she talks about him, I'm sure that she has a butterfly in her stomach, feeling so warm. I mean, it feels like the same thing when I'm talking about me in Discord. Hmm, you may right about that, said Twilight. Yeah, I kinda. Hey, let's talk about something else, okay? Said Rainbow a little bit blushing. Fine, but we want to talk about. Hmm, how about, I don't know, games, sports, anything. From that day, Rainbow was actually really happy to finally have found her true love within Blazing Waters. But even though that he was considered moving to Ponyville, and to his surprise, his interest of the smaller cottage outside of town was approved. He was eventually moved in, and even though his family came by to see him from time to time in Ponyville, but they were happy that he was once again connected with Rainbow Dash. It happened that sometimes that Rainbow and Blazing Waters didn't even see each other very often due to Rainbow's career as a Wonderbolt. Sometimes she traveled to different cities for a performance, sometimes that lasted for days, sometimes for 1 week. But it also happened that she did end up going on a tour with her team, sometimes throughout Equestria, and sometimes even other kingdoms, and sometimes those can last up to about a month. But they was still happy because every time when she came home, she paid much more attention to Blazing Waters. In fact, even after some time, he started to be more lovable to her. He often cooked her dinner when she came to his place, and she really appreciated it. And even when she was away for something for longer periods, he even volunteered to look after her pet Tank. And he really liked Tank, even though he didn't do much, just give him the right food and make sure that he was comfortable. And Rainbow really appreciated it. But then it happened that Rainbow decided maybe they should live together. But the main question is, in her place or even in Blazing Water's place. But consider that he just recently bought his place, it was like no longer had no intention to simply move out and live with her. And since she had been living in her place for so long and she owned it, so she decided to keep her old place and move in with Blazing Waters. But sometimes they even used their old home as their kind of like a vacation home, even though it is still in Ponyville's area. But then, in the winter, something really happened. In the winter, Blazing Waters was suffering from the flu, and he was really much in a bad case. In the first few days of the when he had the flu, he felt like normal. He could do some basic things at home, but as time went on, after just about a week, his condition was getting worse and worse. At first, he could barely just eat something, but after just almost 2 weeks, he felt so bad that he couldn't even move. So Rainbow took him to the hospital, and he was among the few ponies in town who were suffering the same thing. They needed the the cure, but Rainbow found out that the hospital was in low supply for this particular flu vaccine they needed. The nearest town that had it was Vancouver, but there was just only a small problem. There was a snowstorm in the area of Vancouver, and they couldn't send by mail, like in airmail, by mail ponies that flying at them, or even by train, because the storm was so bad and the train tracks had been covered in several feet of snow. And the wind itself was so strong and it made it almost impossible for a train to even to see. They wouldn't even want to risk it. But the small issue is that for the ponies that had in this condition, they may not even survive for long. When Rainbow heard this, she was devastated. She couldn't even face herself losing Blazing Waters like that. So she took the things that are on her own accord. Even she had been told by Twilight and the others just simply by waiting until the storm passed. But when she was told that the storm was gonna may last for more longer than that, much longer than the time that even Blazing Waters or the other patients had, by the time of the storm passed, they may not even be around anymore. So Rainbow took a choice, even despite against her friends and even a doctor's warnings. Rainbow, in the early morning, left Ponyville, flying as fast as she could all the way to Vancouver. And as she was getting closer to that big city, she did see the storm clouds in the distance. She was preparing to maybe take a chance to fly above the storm, but then she had to dive down through the storm winds, and that may actually take her off guard. But she also knew flying straight through the storm itself would be much more strain of her own body, like too much pressure. She may be able to pull through, but also the risk that the winds may be too strong for her and she may be knocked down the ground, and so she'd rather been taking the risk to flying straight through the storm as fast as she could. She even tried to use a sonic rain boom a few times. 2 times first it failed, but the third time managed to get through the storm faster. Even though they made it her waste so much more energy, but she managed to get through the storm, arrived at the hospital, managed to get enough of the flu vaccine back. Even though despite that she had been told to wait out the storm, even when she asked how long the storm would last, she was told maybe a few more days, but she couldn't even wait that long. So she thanked them for that and thanked them for warning and flew through the storm. Despite being already so exhausted, she pressed herself in the storm, but this time she didn't even have enough strength to use another sonic rain boom. Even she was trying, but in vain. But she managed to pass through the storm and flying aboard calmer all the way back to Ponyville. And when she arrived, she handed over the medicine and collapsed. She woke up about almost a day later. She was just exhausted, but she was informed that Blazing Waters and other few patients was going to remain a full recovery. Even when Rainbow got a visit from her friends, like they were like all scolding her so much. Twilight was like, Rainbow, we told you to just simply wait. Twilight, do you really think that I would just simply just sitting there waiting for the storm to pass? It was still taking them days to even arrive here through the big much of snow on the train tracks. Yeah, but still, that would be a lot safer. Yeah, that may be, but I couldn't even just sit there waiting to see my own boyfriend pass away over that. Do you honestly don't believe? But Applejack entered between and said, Sugar Cube, we just want you to be the best. We never said that you shouldn't even do it, even though it may have hurt yourself. But we are just happy that you made it and that the other patients along with Blazing Waters are safe. But for sweet Celestia, next time don't do anything so drastic. We okay but you want to save your boyfriend. But just please don't do that again, said Twilight. Rainbow just nodded and she promised. And by the next spring, even after just about even almost a year, Blazing Waters proposed to Rainbow. He didn't even have to wait for a few more years in order to do so because they had known each other for such a long time. And she said yes. They decided to have a small wedding in the summer nearby Sweet Apple Acres. They actually did have a good time. Twilight was asked to perform the ceremony. Fluttershy was asked to be the maid of honor. Spike to be the best man to Blazing Waters. Their families was invited and a few more close friends, but they wanted just to have a small wedding. Rainbow's family, especially her parents, was really happy to see that Rainbow and Blazing Waters was now officially married. They welcomed Blazing Waters to part of the family. They later went to a tropical island for about a week as part of their honeymoon. There, they just had a great time, enjoying the swimming in the ocean, doing some sightseeing, just having an amazing time. And after being married for about 2 years, they actually learned that they were expecting their first child. And it was in fact a son. And when their son was born, he was really much like his parents. Fast flyer, very flexible. His dream was to become an acrobat. So he practiced a lot during his childhood and became an acrobat. He actually married a fellow acrobat when he was after joining the circus, and they even got married after being dating for 3 years and have 2 daughters of their own. 3 years later, they had a daughter who was really wanted to be a buckball player when she was young. After being watching some games that her aunts Pinky and Fluttershy played, she trained and eventually did become a buckball player when she was about 19. She eventually married a fellow player and they got married after being dating for about 4 years and had 2 daughters of their own. And about another 2 more years, they had a third child, a son. He was very much like Rainbow, fast flyer, loyal, and he loved Wonderbolts. His dream and his passion to be a fellow Wonderbolt one day. And after he was about 15, he was able to join the Wonderbolt reserves. But he was able to become a full member when he was about 21. And he married a fellow Wonderbolt team member, and they got married after being married for dating for about 4 years and had 3 daughters of their own. After being apart for 10 years, Rainbow often wondered what happened to her best friend after being apart for so long. And after once again reconnected after so many years, she was happy. And not only that, but her feelings for him remained strong. She was just happy to finally once again meet up with him. Even Blazing Water himself was really happy to once again be reconnected with Rainbow Dash after 10 years apart. To finally be able to confess his feelings for her made him to realize he was happier than ever to be with her. Since being apart for so long and their love for each other was only getting stronger for each single day, and to have 3 amazing children together, it was the most thing they could ever ask for. And now to even have 7 grandchildren to raise, it was one of the best. And this is how Blazing Waters and Rainbow Dash found a true love, got a big family together. The end.